Hey, good morning. I hope you are having an amazing weekend, a good rest day, meal prepping, all that good stuff. I wanted to talk today a little bit more about getting into Autumn's group because I know that's kind of the buzz that I'm seeing a lot of coaches posting how nervous they are that they're not going to get that challenge pack or that completion pack sale, but they really want to get into her group. And guys, I know that panic, that fear, I think any coach would be lying if they said they didn't feel that a little bit. The beginning of every month, trying to hit Success Club, that first day when the office is zero, it's like, oh my gosh. But we got to breathe through that and we got to realize that's just an emotion that we got to just let go of the fear. And one of my favorite quotes is that success is on the other side of fear. So we got to push through that. So if you saw my other two videos, and I'll post them in the comments below for anybody who hasn't, I gave a little bit of an introduction in the first video on the basic 101s of how to structure your business in a way that's going to reap rewards over time. Last time we talked about a step-by-step invitation guide so that you can get really effective about your inviting method. And I want to talk even further today about how we're talking to people, because sometimes people don't have a problem inviting and they're reaching out and getting shot down a lot. And usually it's the same reason. And sometimes we have to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. So the first thing that I want to bring up right now is this has probably happened to everybody here. If you've got other Facebook friends, this probably happened. Have you ever had somebody from a different MLM company message you and you haven't heard from them in a long time, and all of a sudden they sent like this really long sales vomity diarrhea post and you're like, WTF, why did you send me this? That is so nasty. You don't even bother to read it because you're like, you read the first few lines and you're like, they're just trying to sell me something, and you just stop looking at it. I've had that happen multiple times. It's gross, it's icky, nobody likes it, doesn't work. And we gotta remember, what is the number one thing that we're doing as network marketers? We're building relationships. So you cannot just send somebody a message, like your high school friend you haven't talked to in 10 years. Oh, hey, oh my gosh, I hope you're well. I saw you've got this cute little baby now. That's amazing. By the way, I'm part of Beachbody and we do these really cool workouts and there's this group coming up and you should buy this $180 challenge pack so you can work with Autumn Calabrese and me in this cool group. How gross is that? They don't know who Autumn is, probably. They don't know what Beachbody's all about. They don't want to do a freaking workout. It's just like, why did you send me this? That's what happens because they don't feel like you really wanted them to join you, even though in your heart you're like, oh my gosh, I miss this person. I loved spending time with them and this would be great to do together. That's what you're feeling, but what's coming out of your mouth doesn't match that. And it's really just reworking how we go about it. What I realized, because I did that originally a few times too and it didn't work and I stopped doing it because I figured that out. But what happens is it's actually simpler than that to get people to join you. It's so much simpler. It's starting an actual real dialogue. And guys, I am not a small talk person. You've probably heard other coaches say that. It's not something natural for me. It's something I adapted a little bit to, and I don't do super small talk. But I'm Canadian. We do talk about the weather, and we find the weather really interesting because our weather is really messed up here. But other than that, I don't really like small talk. So I dive into some of the bigger questions on what people are doing. I do the general questions like, how's your week been? Or what are you up to this weekend? Stuff like that. But after that, I like to dive into more meaty, meaningful conversations. I'm an introvert, very empathetic. So that's something that means a lot to me. Hey, Wendy. Oh yeah, I'm happy to share. I think it helps as coaches that we all know that we're on the same page and that everybody struggles with this. So we're not alone. And once we kind of figure out what's not working, we can move past it. And that's the beauty of growth in this business and failing forward. So going forward with that, with the, hey, how you been? Or maybe it's somebody you haven't talked to since high school, like that original example. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since we talked. What have you been up to these past 12 years or whatever it's been? Really dive deep into that. Maybe you're not even going to invite them in that first conversation, and you got to be okay with that. This is about building the relationship. Now, if it's somebody you talk to regularly, you can have just that little intro. Oh, hey, how's your week been? I haven't seen you, since last Friday. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, by the way, you can throw out what you're doing in a casual way. If you're casual about it, takes the stress off of you, takes the stress off of them. So, oh, by the way, you probably see me posting these pictures from the 80-Day Obsession group that I've been in, and I've just been having a great time. I'm going to be doing another round in a couple weeks. Maybe you'd be interested in joining me. I think you'd love this. And it just opens the door for the conversation. You're probably going to get objections still. Oh, I don't know if I'd have time to do that, or that time nutrition looks tricky. That's not a no. You got to know that an objection actually means they're interested, but they need more information to make an informed decision. That's it. If you can tell yourself that, believe it, because that is the truth, you're going to be able to move forward much more easily with it. Because if somebody tells me like, oh, that nutrition looks really complicated, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I thought the exact same thing. I actually didn't know if I'd be able to do it, especially since I'm the kind of person that really liked to have a treat meal every week. But I kind of looked it over more, and I knew that I really wanted some profound results. I got off track last year and I needed something to ground me. And once I got into it, I actually realized it was a lot easier than it looked. And with all the meal prep I'm doing, it doesn't take me that long on the weekend. And then my rest of my week, I have so much more time to do stuff. And so you're just explaining your experience and why that fear that they have, because that's what an objection is, a fear. Why their fear isn't really something to be afraid of. And then they go, oh, okay, so now, and then you can move on with the conversation. So you're just giving them information they don't have. We often forget that we know so much more because we're in it than they do, because they haven't done it. We got to remember how we felt when we'd only just heard about 80-Day Obsession and a few of the taglines. And I'm talking back in September after they just dropped hints about it, because that's how they feel. Even in January, before we started this, we had so much information because as a coach, we're reading up on it. We're reading the articles on Beachbody On Demand. We're reading the Coach Online Office information that's breaking down how it's going to work. Then once the meal plans went up, we read about them. We're very well educated about it. They aren't. So we're just passing on that information so that they go, oh, okay, I guess I can do this. And that's all you got to do. It's not about convincing. It's not arm twisting. It's giving them the information they need to make an informed decision. Same thing with, I don't know if I'd have enough time to fit in the workouts. Guys, we all know people in this freaking group who work 12, 16-hour shifts, crazy stuff. If they can do it, somebody working the regular 8-hour shift can definitely do it. And somebody working block shifts, they can do it. We can help them work it around. And it's also about saying, hey, yes, it's ideal if you can eat every 2 to 3 hours, but maybe you're taking a university course and you've got a 4-hour class with no breaks. So be it. Eat before and eat as soon as you're done in that class. Bam. You do the best you can with what you got. It's not about perfection. It's about trying to do the best we can. But hey, if you got to make a change to make it work, we're there as coaches to help them find the ways to make that happen. So as we're talking to people, take the pressure. You're not trying to make a sale. If you're thinking, I have to make a sale, you're done. You're cooked before you started. And I was talking to somebody in my group about this because she's like, oh, I really want into Autumn's group, but I get so panicked about selling. And I'm like, good. You shouldn't be trying to sell. If you're trying to sell, ew, I don't want to be sold to. Your friends don't want to be sold to, and you don't want to sell to them. So stop trying to sell. And then I told her, I'm like, okay, I want to do a little bit of reverse positioning here so that you see, because I'm a human being and I invited you to join me for this 80-Day Obsession group. So I asked her, I'm like, did you feel like I pressured you to buy something? Do you feel like I sold you something? Or do you feel like I invited you to join me to do something? And then she was like, well, I felt like you just invited me. And I was like, yeah, you made the decision to make the purchase. I let you know what the group was about, what we were doing, how exciting it was going to be. And I did go over your package options, but it wasn't like I came up and said, hey, there's 80-day obsession and it's blah, blah, blah price and you should buy this. I said, hey, I'm doing 80-day obsession. You should join me. You will have so much fun with this program. So there's the difference. And it's not a big difference, but it's enough of a difference that it's the approach. That's how we relate to people, because it's just like if you invited somebody to go and see a movie with you, you're selling them on the movie, right? You're selling them on buying a ticket, but you're not saying, hey, come to the movie theater with me and spend $15. You're saying, hey, I want to see this movie. It looks really cool. It's got my favorite actors in it, and it's about space stuff, and you like space stuff, so come see it with me. That's what we're doing with 80-Day Obsession, and with any other Beachbody program or supplement or anything else. We're talking about the experience. We're not talking about the facts. And you've probably heard this before that, facts tell, emotions sell. And that's true because we're emotional beings. Like, I didn't buy 80-Day Obsession because it came with cute little containers and the sliders are blue. I got the program because I wanted to feel better. I wanted to look better. I wanted to have more energy. Those are emotional things. I wanted to have the communal experience of being in this freaking group. As soon as I knew this group was like a possibility, I was like, I'm down. Like, I was so excited about it. I'm so excited about the next one too. And that's what we have to convey, how excited we are, how that's going to bring it out. It also comes down to ask them questions, if they're interested, hey, what are your fitness goals? Like, dive into that, because that's going to give you a lot more information to work with. Because when we keep it focused on us, it's not interesting for them. But when we show a genuine interest in, who they are and what they want, we can help them attain that goal because we know what they want. Instead of us imposing the goal like, oh, yeah, you're going to look good in that bikini in the summer. And they're like, I don't even like going to the beach. Like, right? Sometimes we impose what we want because we want them to want what we want. And that's not the way to go about it. We want to figure out, what does that person want and how can I help them get it? And it doesn't always mean that 80-Day Obsession is going to be the right thing for them, but we know it works for a very big segment of the population. We've got people from all walks of life in this group. I know we've got a few people in their 70s. I know we've got teens. We've got people who, have a few hundred pounds to lose. We've got people who are gaining weight. We've got people all over the spectrum, men, women. This helps a lot of people. Now, somebody who has some serious issues, maybe wouldn't be able to do the program, great. We do have solutions for them that would be alternatives. But for the majority of people we invite, they could do this program and love it. Hey, Sarah. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I like to pay it forward. I think as a coach, sharing the information and being able to help each other out it's helpful because we all have a different perspective and we all learn different things going through the coaching experience. So I definitely hope it's helpful. Okay, so back to what I was saying with the getting into that invite process. So I want you to step back and put yourself in that person's shoes. So maybe write out what you would write as an invite and pretend somebody messaged that to you. Would you respond to that? And this is a really big thing because like attracts like. If, the way you respond to things is the way that your best audience is going to respond to it. So you got to see, would I like that or would I ignore that? Or would I just politely say no? Or would I be like, definitely not interested, because we all respond in such different ways too. And I've had people before who messaged me aggressively, and I didn't even want to close it. I was like, I am not at all interested because I was so overly offended by the way that they messaged me. I was like, no, oh my gosh, if you ever send me that again, ugh. And afterwards, I was like, I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was like, if you want some help getting better at inviting. Like I worded it very like well, but it was basically if you want to get better at this, let me know. I'll coach you a little bit on how to invite people so that you're not offending them. But it was just one of those things where I was so taken aback by the approach. And somebody once sent me like a 10 paragraph thing. Like I scrolled up for almost a minute and I didn't get to the top, and I was like, who sends this? Who's gonna read that? So anyways, I'm sure you've been there too, where you've had somebody send you an invite where you're like, wow, ew. And we got to remember that, you know, the people we are inviting have been invited by the people who are gross before. They have been sent the 10 paragraph thing before. They have been so offended that they probably said, oh my gosh, don't message me anymore. So we need to remember that we're fostering relationships. And if you have run a challenge group before, if you are like an experienced coach, you know that the people who are in your challenge group become like your family. Like they're like your really good friends after a while. Like they're people who you're like, I am so grateful that I became a coach just because I wouldn't have you in my life if I hadn't become a coach. If you're a new coach, that's something you have to look forward to. And it's important that you know that they're going to be that close to you. I had a conversation the other day with a newer coach, and we were talking about posting, and she was saying how, oh, I don't know if I want to post on my personal timeline, and maybe I'm just going to set up a fan page. And I told her, I'm like, you can absolutely set up a fan page, but you know, your audience wants to see that personal side of you too. Whoever your, you know, family becomes, your fit family, whether they're a coach or a customer, they're going to be really close to you. So you're going to want to be sharing that anyways. So you can grow it on your personal page. You should be, you know, your Beachbody workouts and eating well are part of who you are. That's not all that you should be posting. You know, you should be posting the other aspects of your life, but that's part of who you are, and you shouldn't be ashamed about that. And she kind of went, I didn't think about it that way. I kind of was nervous to, you know, add new friends who I didn't know. I didn't want to get creepers. And I kind of just talked her through, you know, you're not going to arbitrarily add people to your Facebook. You know, you're gonna go and add friends of friends who you think you might have something in common with. You're gonna join general Facebook groups that have interests that you have interests in. So you're meeting people who you would just naturally gravitate to anyways, because that's who you want. You don't want just anybody in your fit fam, because you'll figure out after time, if you do go that route, and I did that originally, that you have like conflicting personalities, and you want to have a group where, like, if you go on vacation for a week and you don't have internet access, that you come back and there hasn't been any fights or anything ridiculous in your group, right? Especially you got a couple hundred people in there. You want it to be a safe zone for everybody, where everybody feels connected and friendship and that kind of thing. So when you come about it that way, then you realize when you're inviting that you would never just want to chuck out an invite in a messenger. You'd want to start a conversation first, even if it was a really short conversation just to catch up. Hey, how's your week been? Oh, hey, I saw, you know, your cat photo the other day. It was so cute. You know, what's her name if you don't know the cat's name? Or how have they been? Whatever. Just something that's going to connect you guys, so that you're showing a genuine interest in who they are and what they're doing. Get that conversation to be meaningful, so that when you put your invite in, you know, after a couple minutes of talking to them, or maybe 10 minutes later, whatever the case may be, that it doesn't feel like you reached out to them for that reason. That's just something that you wanted to bring up during the conversation. If you start doing that, you're going to see some real rewards come out of that in terms of business growth. Plus, you're going to feel a lot better about it. The people you reach out to are going to feel better about it. And even if they're like, no, and let's look at statistics here, guys. Most people say yes between the 5th and 7th invite. This is fact, okay? Now, if you go for the personal approach, I do find you can get that number like more into the like 3rd to 5th invite, but keep that in mind. They're going to say no, most likely on the very first invite. And you know what's good here? Most people take no and they feel crushed by it. A no just means no right now. And I love that, because as soon as you invite somebody, maybe you don't talk to them for like, you touch base like maybe once a week or once a month after that, they're going to start watching your social media after you've invited them. They're going to see if you're consistent. They're going to kind of creep into what you're doing. There's something just very fascinating that happens after you've invited somebody. Even if they're like, no, they start watching you. And I had this experience when I first became a coach, and I invited a lot of people, and basically anybody who was friend or family was like, nope. And then a year later, because I'd been consistent and I'd been posting every day, then people started coming to me and going, okay, I got to try this Beachbody thing you're doing. And it was interesting. It's just, they watch. They want to make sure that you're like for real into this, that you're not just going to like bail, because that happens a lot. I'm sure you all know coaches who have signed up and quit over the years. This happens a lot. Most people aren't in it for the long haul. And one thing we talk about in my team a lot is, be the coach who is going to be here 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Be that person who's going to be here. Maybe it's not going to be your full-time thing, but be the one who's going to be consistent, who's going to show up, who's going to lift other people up and be there for them for the long haul. Set yourself like to be like, maybe you're like, I want to give the best experience a customer's ever had. Maybe that's your goal. Whatever it is, like just dig into it and get excited about it, because that's what's going to show. That's what's going to be powerful. Thank you, Tanya. So that's kind of the main gist of what I wanted to get across today, is just invite without selling. As soon as you take that off your plate, because if you can go, okay, I just, every day I'm going to invite 5 people. That doesn't mean every day I'm going to sell to 5 people. So that takes all that pressure off of you. It just means you got to get the invitation out there. That's your job. The selling, that's like great when it happens, but that's not your job. Your job is to get the invitation out there so that they can make the choice for themselves, so that you can offer more information, so that you can figure out what their goals are, so that you can help them when they're ready, all that stuff. And I know I said it in the other videos, guys, it doesn't have to be a sale right away. You focus on just getting them started. We've got Clean Week. It is absolutely free. If somebody gets a free account with you, they get access to Clean Week. So just get them started. Get them used to that whole group environment and that coach support and how awesome the workouts are. That is gold. That's going to make them want more. And especially since what I love that they did is that you have to go into Beachbody On Demand to get to the Clean Week. So they see all the other programs. They're all locked. They can't access them, but they see them. And that creates interest. So these are things that are really powerful. Okay, so Instagram. Okay, Michelle, good thing to bring up. So that platform is definitely a different beast altogether. You've probably heard Instagram stories are really where it's at right now. They do add a lot of new features in there now. You can actually hashtag your Instagram stories now. You can only put one up there, but hey, it gets a little bit more exposure that way. In terms of your posts, your hashtags are like your lifeline. And if you've noticed with Instagram that you're getting a lot of other fitness professionals or coaches liking and following you, but not any like real people, that is the sign that you got to change up your hashtags. So the things that you really want to like avoid for hashtags as a coach: Beachbody, Shakeology, Beachbody On Demand. Those hashtags are going to attract other coaches, because those are the things that as coaches we're searching for. So we got to figure out, okay, what is my ideal customer searching for? You got to think of who you were before you found Beachbody and what was that person looking for. Maybe you were looking up chocolate lava cake recipes. Maybe you were looking up stuff on golden retrievers. Maybe you were really into knitting. You might still be into knitting, but those are the things that are going to bring the audience to you that has the common interests. So when we talk about branding, we're going to talk about like, what are the 5 things that make you unique and stand out, that make you different from the next coach? Because, there's a lot of coaches out there, and you know what gets really boring really fast? Sweaty selfie, Shakeology picture, healthy meal. Sweaty selfie, Shakeology picture, healthy meal. I've seen a lot of accounts like that, and it's like, who are you outside of Beachbody? I want to know who you are. So that's one thing you got to figure out is like, what else am I going to be posting? Maybe you have a new baby. Well, great. Baby pictures. You're a fit mom. Those are things to work in. Maybe you're really into your career. Maybe you've got some really cool hobbies. Maybe you're into really like interesting technology stuff. I don't know. What makes you you? What makes you excited outside of Beachbody? Those are the things that are going to be interesting to the other people. And what happens is maybe I follow you because you've got these amazing tips on all these tricks with knitting that are really cool. And I'm a knitter, so I follow you. And then I also see that you're posting these fitness things, and that's cool. And then you put up a post about, you got a free group coming up, and, do I want to lose 5 pounds in a week? And hey, I got 5 pounds to lose, and I trust you because you've got these amazing knitting tips. So I'm going to trust you with my fitness. So I'm going to reach out about your group. That's how it works. So these are the things that eluded me at first, for sure. And I learned from other coaches. And I think it's important that we're always learning new things. And I did say this, I think, on my first video. I absolutely love Doug Moss's YouTube channel. If you don't know who that is, he is the regional director in the West. He's interviewed a lot of the top coaches in the area. They're these amazing, like, you can just listen to them. You don't necessarily have to watch them, but he breaks down with them how they built their business, what they went through with their struggles, what they learned, what they figured out that worked. And you can learn so much watching those. So that is something that I highly recommend you watch those, because you can learn what works for you. Because you might be listening to me and going, I don't really relate to that. But you might listen to another coach and go, oh, I just love the way that he or she is running their business. Like, that feels like something I could really get behind. So you got to figure out what's going to work for you, because we're all really different, right? Like, I'm not the kind of person who likes to get on the phone very often. Like I said earlier, I'm an introvert. The fact that I can invite behind a computer screen on Facebook, oh my gosh, like, best thing ever. Like, it's one of those things where I find it so comforting that I get to work at home. That is like the biggest blessing ever. So that's big for me. But maybe you are like, being at home by myself is like crushing my soul, and I need to get out there. And maybe that makes you realize that maybe I want to do Beachbody live training so that I get to be around a group of people a couple times a week. And maybe that's how I'm going to, bring in these new customers, and, I'll bring Shakeology samples there. And then while at the end of the class, like once a week, I'll sell Shakeology samples, and then I might get some orders in from those. Great. There's nothing to say that wouldn't work. That has worked for other coaches. You got to figure out what works for you. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. It's being excited to dive in every day. So I hope these tips were really helpful. And if you have like any questions, just post them in the comments. I keep checking back on the videos just to see if anybody, does have questions, because we're all here to help each other. I want to see everybody who wants into Autumn's group get into that group, because it's going to be freaking awesome. And we're going to learn so much. She's going to have so many speakers, and we're going to just take our coaching businesses to the next level. It's going to be very exciting. So anyways, have a wonderful day, guys, and we're going to rock it hard tomorrow.